What's going on, guys? Noobs here. I just wanted to have a little chat about the future of Nintendo's portable hardware. I'm sure I'm not the only one who was taken in by the idea that their next hardware, what became the Switch, would be a replacement for both their Wii U home console and 3DS portable lines, the great unifying of their software, the end of the droughts. Well, the way they've been talking up the Switch so far has been very focused on that being the replacement for their home console only, right? They keep saying that's what it is. I mean, I appreciate that they do have to pay lip service to the 3DS. It's still going, it's still selling for them. There's a handful of games coming for it still. But, I think they need to telegraph to their audience a little bit that this ultimately will be the replacement for both. Announcing more of their handheld focused franchises for the Switch would go a long way in that regard. If you look at what games are coming out to it, I mean, you got the big 3D Zelda, you got Splatoon. There's been a lot of focus on motion controls, especially with 1-2 Switch. That is definitely not a handheld game. That is entirely non-portable, unless you count, putting the screen up on a stand. So, maybe Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem. Announcing those kind of games for the Switch would go a long way in convincing me this really will be the replacement for both. We almost had that, of course, before the Fire Emblem Direct, but then they went ahead and announced the next Fire Emblem game was actually going to be a 3DS game. They admitted that the one after that would be for Switch, but they even said that was the return of the franchise to home consoles. They even announced that the Fire Emblem Warriors game would be for both 3DS and Switch. On top of this, in a recent presentation, Kimishima said, "We have heard speculation that Nintendo Switch will replace the Nintendo 3DS. We plan to continue both businesses separately and in parallel." He went on to threaten, "We will have several follow-up titles from popular franchises on Nintendo 3DS, and we are developing many other unannounced titles to continue to enrich the software lineup going forward." That's not as bad as was initially interpreted from his statements, where people were saying he was actually talking about a 3DS successor. I mean, it's a relief, I suppose. That's not what he said. Hey guys, since I recorded this, Time put out a great interview they did with Koizumi and Takahashi that gives me some hope. Here's one choice quote. "We're hoping that Nintendo Switch will be a system that will be the constant in your gaming life, whereas previously you would play certain things on your home system and certain things on your handheld. Our hope is that Nintendo Switch can be the system that bridges both of those and becomes the constant system that you're always using." Makes it sound like they do have some intention to make this their handheld successor as well as the home console. I still have hope that the Switch will ultimately be the successor to their handheld as well. I mean, it's clear to me at this point that they can't really quite get the price down to where they would like it to be for a handheld. There are other issues like battery life that may be holding them back as well. But I have some ideas about what I think they could do to transform the Switch a little bit, switch it up a bit, and make it more of a true portable. Now, there are a few things you can just take out of the box, right? There's the dock and the charging grip. Oh, sorry, just the grip, not charging. But you know what? I know that they're selling that dock for $90. Taking it out of the box is not going to knock $90 off the price of the system. It's a bunch of plastic and an HDMI port. It's not $90 for them to produce. I think where they could maybe save some more money is if they replace the current Joy-Cons with some really basic Joy-Cons. Same sticks and buttons, but remove, the HD rumble and the motion sensing and the IR. I'm personally sick of paying for Nintendo's unnecessary gimmicks. I barely used the 3D on the 3DS. The gamepad was almost useless on the Wii U. I think they could just strip all of that out of the Joy-Cons and come out with a much cheaper package. As I've said in past videos, I'm not convinced I need a Switch at launch. The Fire Emblem Direct only furthered that feeling for me. So I guess at this point, I'm just waiting. E3, maybe they'll reveal some of these more handheld-friendly titles for the Switch that'll give me a better idea that this really will be their handheld replacement. Pokemon Stars on its own would go a long way in convincing me the Switch really is their handheld replacement as well. Let me know what you guys think. Are you holding out on the Switch until we get more of their handheld-friendly titles announced for it? Thanks for watching.